It really isn't too late to plan. I don't think it's ever too late to make a plan for what's going on. Even at the last minutes of life, you can make a death plan. I've been involved in that with some work with a nonprofit hospice. I'm not going to talk about that today. We're talking about planning from where you are now, where I am now, moving forward. Let me tell you a little story about my mom. My mom decided to retire due to several situations in her life at the age of basically 62. The funniest part was she could not declare to get Social Security because she had lied about her age before I was born. Her second marriage, married a man, my dad, who was 6 years younger than her. And that bothered her a lot. And it was before anything was online. And she changed her age. She changed her age on everything. She changed her age on her driver's license. She just started reporting herself on everything as being younger than she was. And, well, it worked. She reached the age of 62 with all of us thinking that she was 3 years younger, but she couldn't declare that she could get Social Security because the only thing she had was her birth certificate. And so, one day she gave me a call, and I was pregnant. And she said, I am coming over to tell you something. And I'm like, you have cancer? And she's like, no, I don't have cancer. I'm coming over to tell you something that's really important. I'm like, if you're going to die, I need to know now before you come over, not this afternoon. So I have hours to worry. I don't have cancer. I'm not dying. And I'm coming over to tell you something important. And I frustrated all afternoon. I was so worried. I was just sure that she was unhealthy, that something was wrong. And she came over and she sat me down and she said, I am younger than I am, and I've been lying about my age since before you were born, and I want to get Social Security, and I have to come clean. I have to go to the government, and it should be okay, but I have lied on everything for a very long time. And I started laughing, to which was not what she expected from the gravity of her situation, of which she was very worried that the government was going to do something to her because she had lied about her age since the early, 1961. And I laughed and laughed. It relieved me so much that she was not dying of cancer at that moment. Later, she died in April of her 63rd year. The next year, I was just ending my pregnancy, and she died of a sudden heart attack. We didn't know, a little foreshadowing there, but she was trying to make a plan. She was trying to amend what she had already done, which was not make any plan at all. She had not made any plan at all. She had worked paycheck to paycheck, day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, on a survival mode her whole adult life. Her life was very interesting and very dramatic, and she raised 7 children, and she got to the age that she was looking older than she was. She wasn't much older than I am now, and I resemble her, but she looked much older than me. She had worked super hard. She hadn't taken care of herself. She was a lifelong smoker. She had a family history of heart issues. She hadn't eaten well. She worked on her feet all day, but she hadn't exercised, but mostly it was diet and smoking. She wasn't a drinker. She did work on her feet all day, so that was to her benefit. But anyway, she took inventory of what she had going for her, and one of the things was that she could get Social Security. And so she went to face the piper on her lack of being honest and see where she could get. She did get her Social Security figured out, and they didn't punish her for lying on her age. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying that they forgave her. And so there we are. At any time, even though you've lived paycheck to paycheck, even though you lied or something other in your life going on, like whatever it was, it's never too late to plan and put things in motion. She was able to really enjoy the last few months of her life. She went and traveled with a friend. She got snowed into the mountains above Yellowstone with her friend and her friend's husband, and then came back to us. She did miss the holidays with us, but what an adventure. She never really got to travel and do that kind of thing prior to that. And so she had a grand adventure before she passed away. She wouldn't have been able to do those things had she not taken stock in what she's doing. There's a lady on YouTube. Her channel is Mornings with Granny. She reminds me a lot of my mom. And I'll try not to tear up when I talk about her. I've been watching her for quite some time. Her YouTube channel is modest. She's monetized. She's able, I'm sure, to augment her very small income with this YouTube channel. She took stock. She put together a YouTube channel. She got brave. She started with showing us what she'd make from a few dollars worth of groceries and how she would make $10 worth of groceries last her the week. And this so reminded me of my mother, because my mother grew up during the Depression, and she knew how to make a penny scream or a dollar scream. The eagle screamed on my mother's dollar, because this lady, and my mother would do the same, she would parcel the potatoes out by ounces, not by single potato. Like, you can buy big potatoes, and each one of us children would get half a potato with our meal. She'd cut it in half if it was a baked potato. She'd cube it up, put it in with something else, so like a casserole with it. This lady did the same, and she was one of the first. There's a whole bunch of people who do that now, but Mornings with Granny really did start that in a way I hadn't seen anyone else do it that early. And it was charming. It was very old-fashioned. Her kitchen's old-fashioned. The way she speaks is older style. She's fun to watch. She's engaging. She didn't know she'd be fun to watch and engaging. She just made a plan. She knew that she had certain things she could do, and by golly, she did it. Not everybody's cut out to have a YouTube channel, but she felt she could. She had something inside of her that she felt she could share, which was her cooking at that time. She shares a lot of other things now. She's really expanded her life. It's a vlog. She reads letters that her viewers have sent her, old-fashioned style. Who remembers the TV shows where they used to do that? They'd read the letters and they'd talk about the letters. She does that. It's a slower way of doing things. It's her style. It's what she could do. She did a little inventory of what she had. She probably had her Social Security, which wasn't a lot, because you get a percentage of what you pay in, and if you don't make a lot during your lifetime because you're a low income earner, then you get lower amount back. And she decided to augment that with YouTube. She may be augmenting with other things also. I don't know. But there's lessons from Granny. There's lessons from my mom. First and foremost, don't let a big hurdle that you think is insurmountable, like my mother thought her lying about her age to the government was insurmountable, don't let it bother you. Fess up, let people laugh at you, like I laughed at my mom and my siblings. We just all thought that was the funniest thing ever. And then take care of it. Get past it and make it a positive in your life. Like Granny, Mornings with Granny, take a look at the things around you. And we'll be talking about this more and how to do an actual itemization of an inventory of your assets and your non-monetary assets. We all have assets. And I've done this before when life sent me curveballs, loss of a grant I had, and no income coming in. I did an inventory of what I had, and I had an extra bedroom because my daughter had gone to college. And I reached out to some friends at the university, and sure enough, there was a graduate student in my field who needed a place to stay, and she shared mortgage cost with me. And she's, to this day, one of my favorite people and a great part of our family, and enjoyed having her be a second sister to my son. But I did an inventory of what I had. What I had that I could expend at that moment was an extra bedroom. And I had to allow someone into my life, into my house, into my living room, give them a shelf in the refrigerator. Ended up that since she became almost one of my children, I just cooked for her. But we didn't know that in the beginning. So she had a shelf in my refrigerator, and I could do that so that my other income that I did have was able to be augmented until I got the next grant. And you do those inventories. We're getting ready for that fourth quarter. It's a pretty big step. We need to do an inventory. What's going to take us, each one of us, we're all different, into that next quarter? Things may happen, like they happened to my mother. She only lived a few more months. But if she hadn't taken those steps, she wouldn't have enjoyed those months. So, not as much as she did anyway. So what we can do now is what we can do now. And that's where we're going. Unless you've just gotten here, I'll let you know that the fourth quarter is that the statistic is that the age that we'll live to on average in the United States is 82. If you divide that by 4, the age you are when you enter that fourth quarter is 61.5. I personally am 4 months from that 61.5. I turned 61 at the end of last year in November. And in May, I will be at that 61.5. It doesn't mean the planning stops. It doesn't mean you can't plan when you are 62.5 or 65 or 70. You can plan from the moment that you are in right now. And that's what we're going to explore together. So, here's to the next quarter.